Commercial Vehicle Operators Safety Manual, Module 7, Safety Programs, Record Keeping, and Driver Files. Overview, Safety Programs, Record Keeping, and Driver Files Learning Objectives. Safety Programs, why a safety program is good practice. Who the safety program is for. Due diligence, components of a safety program, developing a written safety program, written policies, procedures, and practices, training, measurement/evaluation, discipline/enforcement, components of a comprehensive safety program, the hiring process, orientation, training items for a safety program, driver files, incident reporting processes and procedures, incident response procedures, collision evaluation, substance abuse policy, discipline process, compliance with legislation. Overview. The Commercial Safety and Compliance Branch of the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario has prepared this guide to assist and ensure that truck and bus companies, commercial vehicle operators, operate safely and are compliant with the regulations that govern highway use. Ontario, other provinces, the Government of Canada, and the transportation industry developed the rules and regulations to help reduce the number and severity of collisions. Each jurisdiction has used the National Safety Code standards as guides in drafting their own transportation safety legislation. This approach promotes uniformity across Canada and helps to ensure that the transportation industry remains as viable and sustainable as possible. This guide applies to Ontario operators of commercial motor vehicles that are trucks, tractors, mobile equipment vehicles, or trailers, and/or any combination of these vehicles that have a registered gross weight or actual weight of more than 4,500 kilograms. Tow trucks, regardless of registered gross weight or actual weight. Buses with a manufactured seating capacity of 10 or more persons, excluding the driver. Accessible vehicles and school purposes vehicles depending upon use. This guide contains several modules, each dealing with a specific topic. To get a complete picture of compliance requirements, you should obtain the complete guide. If you intend to use certain parts of this guide only, for example, Module 1, Getting Started, it is recommended that you also obtain the modules Introduction and Commercial Vehicle Operators Registration. This is a guide only and is not meant to be a substitute for relevant statutes and regulations. This guide highlights some important legal provisions, but is not an exhaustive description of all the laws that apply. Safety programs, record keeping, and driver files learning objectives. As you work through this module, you will be able to identify best practices of record keeping and development of a safety program, understand the benefits of developing a safety program, identify the recommended components of a safety program, develop those policies that could be included in the safety program, understand the importance and benefit of a clear hiring, training, and orientation process, develop a process for record keeping, describe the requirements for a driver file, understand how and what data to analyze to keep an effective and current safety program. Some aspects of this module provide guidance to operators with one or more employees. It is understood that not all operators will have employees. However, the intent is to assist those who do and prepare owner-operators for future growth. Safety programs. In Ontario, there are no legal requirements under the Highway Traffic Act to develop or maintain a safety program for your business. However, it is considered a best practice to develop a program that addresses matters relating to the safe use and operation of commercial vehicles. Why a safety program is good practice. A safety program ensures that management has the information available to make proper decisions to establish safe working conditions for all operators and operators' employees, coupled with heightened awareness of road safety compliance. A good safety program will reduce property damage and, more importantly, prevent injuries and deaths. It is also a resource for the employees to know and understand their rights and responsibilities. Other legislation, such as Occupational Health and Safety Act, may require additional components to a safety program. To consult the OHSA, assess the regulation on the access the regulation on the e-laws website or visit Ontario Ministry of Labour or Federal Health and Safety. Who the safety program is for. The safety program should apply to all employees involved in any function related to the truck or bus company, including but not limited to full-time, part-time, and temporary drivers of regulated vehicles, persons managing, directing drivers, safety officers, and maintenance personnel, administrative staff performing safety-related functions, persons repairing or fueling vehicles, safety officers. Due diligence. Due diligence, a defense often used in courts, means that everything reasonable was established and implemented to prevent a violation or incident. So when developing, maintaining, and implementing a safety program, you must understand your legal responsibilities. You are required to develop policies and procedures and keep records indicating clearly that you have fulfilled your responsibilities. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. Here are some specific items that operators should consider to ensure due diligence. Knowing acts and regulations and keeping up to date with the changes. Hiring qualified staff. Documenting the responsibilities of staff involved in safety-related areas, as well as the general responsibilities of all staff in the workplace. For example, logbook requirements or emergency procedures. Educating staff on legislative requirements, company policies, procedures, rules, and so on. Monitoring internal safety systems to ensure compliance to written policies and to legislative requirements. Informing staff of legislative or company policy changes. Disciplining staff and documenting actions when they happen. Keeping records to prove that a safety program has been established and implemented. For example, written policies and documenting training activities. Due diligence requires that all policies, procedures, and activities must be in place before collisions or violations occur. Components of a safety program. A safety program or plan is a written document that outlines the safety practices and expectations for all employees within an operator's organization. A program needs to be customized to meet all of the safety issues of the operator. It is recommended that a safety program address at least the following issues: speed limits, seatbelt use, drug and alcohol use, defensive driving, fatigue management, load security, and fueling. Proper records and recording of information, including bills of lading, manifests, dangerous goods documents, time records, drivers' daily logs, daily inspection reports, and weigh slips. Policies indicating that drivers are expected to comply with the law, as well as policy and procedures related to driver training, responsibilities, conduct, and discipline. Instructions for the use of safety equipment issued, including the use of flags and flares, fire extinguishers, goggles, and hard hats. Training for employees about safety laws and their application. An ongoing program for evaluating employees' driving skills. Retention of complete records for each driver. Policies for ensuring that drivers are properly qualified for the type of vehicle that they operate. Communication is key to the success of a safety program. A system could be developed to ensure that management is aware of all critical items that affect the company so they can respond to problems that arise. Items such as training, incidents, collisions, convictions, and so on are documented. Recall systems are set up for items such as annual inspections, expiry dates for driver's licenses, driver's abstracts, and schedules for preventative maintenance, future training, and so on. Employees are trained and the trainers are qualified to give instruction. Employees, by attending training, know what is required to be in compliance with the expectations outlined in the safety program. Developing a written safety program. Though not required, it is considered a best practice to develop a written safety program. You should develop a policy, statement, procedures, training requirements, recording method, evaluation, and the consequences of non-compliance. You should also tailor your safety program to your specific needs. Written policies, procedures, and practices. Policies and procedures inform and direct the behavior of employees in an organization. Employees should be able to look up procedures for different situations. Each operator should identify critical situations and specify how each should be handled. Corrective measures should be identified in anticipation of an unsafe event. For example, a policy and procedures document outlining how to deal with a small fire in a terminal building or in a vehicle will inform the staff of what they should do in such a situation. Training on how to use a portable fire extinguisher would give employees the skills and confidence required to deal safely with this situation. Training. Employers have a legal obligation under the Occupational Health and Safety Act to make sure that their staff is properly trained for the duties to which they are assigned. After hiring, train all employees and retrain when necessary to ensure that they will be able to carry out their responsibilities efficiently and safely. Keep a record of all staff training in the employee's file. Measurement/evaluation. The operator should have procedures to evaluate the critical risks. For example, reviewing drivers' daily logs for completeness and accuracy is one means of evaluation. Discipline/enforcement. The operator should clearly identify the consequences of not complying with or refusing to comply with the adopted policies and procedures. Monitoring of compliance and any disciplinary actions that result should be progressive in nature and recorded. Components of a comprehensive safety program. What follows are important issues that should be considered in your safety program. The hiring process. Drivers can be an operator's most valuable asset or its biggest liability. Care should be taken to ensure that your company attracts and develops qualified professional drivers. Selective hiring of safe, skilled drivers with good work habits who fit into the company environment helps minimize employee turnover and reduces training costs. The following are tips for developing good hiring practices. Designate one person to oversee the hiring of new drivers. Consider how you advertise for new drivers. You may look to employees for referrals. If you advertise, stress your high standards, safety requirements, and exclusive hiring practices. Focus on an applicant's positive attitude, trainability, and then relevant experience. It is much easier to train a new driver with a good attitude than to change the attitude of an experienced driver. Choose a maximum violation and collision threshold for new hires that you feel is reasonable. Consider if your threshold will include preventable collisions only or all collisions. Do not hire the applicant if the threshold is exceeded. Look for a minimum experience level for new hires. If you cannot find an experienced driver, you may want to look at an applicant who displays the proper attitude and aptitude for training. Consider what type of equipment the candidate would be using. You may want to assign new hires to yard, dock, or local duty for a probationary period. Conduct a personal interview to evaluate attitude, literacy, and language skills. Consider the following in your interview process. Question any employment gaps shown on a resume. Have a second interviewer confirm the candidate's potential and capabilities. Follow up by contacting references and past employers. Look for positive attributes during the interview. These positive attributes include manners, professionalism, being open minded to change, team player oriented, and so on. You want to hire an applicant who will fit into your company. If the applicant has worked for a number of companies, find out why. Avoid hiring drivers with past performance problems. Evaluate the financial performance of owner operators. Those successful in the past are an indicator of long term safety performance and of a good professional driver. Review a current driver abstract to confirm history as a condition of employment. Use an experienced driver to conduct a driving evaluation of all possible new hires. Use a thorough test that includes 2 and 4 lane highways, city driving, and yard backing and parking. Things to look for include shifting, turning, mirror usage, speed, and general awareness. Develop a written and road exam or a checkoff form to test an applicant's skills and knowledge. Look for positive attitudes in safety representatives, accountants, dispatchers, mechanics, dock workers, and so on. Use much the same approach as in the hiring of drivers. Be honest with applicants. Fully explain what is expected of employees. Do not promise benefits and compensation that you will not be able to deliver. Orientation. Orientation is part of an employee training. The purpose of an orientation program is to familiarize new employees with their jobs and the company, including all policies and procedures. Use an experienced driver to assist with the orientation of new ones. Ensure that your experienced driver is suitably trained to do the orientation. Consider developing a list of must always do and must never do as part of your orientation program to heighten consistency in material being covered in each case. Consider having new drivers ride with those who are experienced for a time period. Use experienced drivers who are committed to the company's goals and objectives and who have a proven safety record. If your company has numerous vehicle configurations, have the driver start with simpler equipment and advance to more specialized equipment as experience is gained. Experienced employees from other areas of your company can be used to assist with the orientation in their areas. Training items for a safety program. When providing training specifically or at staff safety meetings, it is good practice to keep a record of the training offered, who took it, and what results were obtained, along with a recall system to find the information at a later date. Choose the training programs and the instructors carefully to ensure that the training is effective and specific to your equipment. Some common topics to be covered in training are listed below. It is important to be consistent and provide the same training to all staff. Safety equipment, load security, vehicle operation and safe driving, hours of service, vehicle maintenance, national safety code, company safety program, transportation legislation, Occupational Health and Safety Act, Highway Traffic Act, and other relevant legislation. Driver files. Operators to which Regulation 555/06, hours of service, apply are required to monitor their drivers' performance to ensure that they meet these regulated requirements. Operators are also required to document corrective action taken to address incidents of non-compliance. Below are the required and recommended items associated with a Ministry of Transportation facility audit to be kept in an operator's driver's files for each person who is authorized to drive. Required documents: a CVOR driver's abstract obtained within the preceding 12 months of the audit, a record of all convictions and/or administrative penalties for provincial and federal legislation that have taken place in the last 24 months, record of all collisions involving any commercial motor vehicle, and a record of any action taken by the carrier to demonstrate that they have responded to the incident. Records that confirm the completion of dangerous goods training, if applicable. The operator uses this information, as well as training and testing, to decide whether or not the driver is fit to drive. All drivers, full-time or part-time, and any employees who may drive should be included. Drivers hired from a pool must also be included. The operator should ensure that similar records are kept by the agency providing the drivers. In addition, an operator should consider including the following documents as part of its driver files: completed application form, record of 3-year employment history, record of all collisions involving any motor vehicle, record of all training completed, copy of current medical certificate. Indirect information may be acceptable, such as a copy of the driver's abstract or driver's license. As a best practice, the operator should consider incorporating the following suggestions as part of their driver screening. Set up an annual review for all drivers. Provide recognition for good performance, as well as opportunities for improvement. Set up a recall system for notification of when records and training need to be updated. Obtain and review driver abstracts more than what is required, i.e., monthly, quarterly, etc. Obtain and review the carrier profile every 1 to 6 months. The operator should use this information, as well as training and testing, to decide whether or not the driver is fit to drive. All drivers, full-time or part-time, and any employees who may drive should be included. Drivers hired from a pool must also be included. The operator should ensure that similar records are kept by the agency providing the drivers. Driver qualification file. The Ministry of Transportation recommends that an operator set up an individual qualification file for each driver. A checklist of required and recommended documentation can be attached to the cover of each file to assist the operator in maintaining up-to-date information. The operator should set up and keep files on each person authorized to drive their vehicles. This is to ensure that a driver is qualified and continues to be qualified to operate a commercial vehicle. The file should contain at least the following: application for employment and employment history, collision and violation disclosure, driver record abstract, annual review of driver fitness, corrective disciplinary action, certificate of dangerous goods training, record of training by driver, record of medical requirements / expiry, if applicable. 1. Application for employment and employment history. Operator. The driver's completed application for employment plus a complete employment history for at least 3 years immediately before the time the driver started working for the operator are suggested. Single driver license disclosure. Driver. A driver is not allowed to hold more than one valid driver's license issued by any jurisdiction at any one time. To be hired by the operator, the driver should disclose the name of each province, territory in Canada, or U.S. state, district, territory where he or she is licensed, the class of license held, whether or not that license has been suspended, and the name in which each driver's license has been issued. While employed with the operator, the driver must also disclose without delay any suspensions, cancellation, prohibition, or change in classification of the license. Operator. The operator should ensure that drivers only operate vehicles allowed by their license class, conditions, and endorsements. 3. Disclosure of collisions scored in a facility audit. Driver. A driver hired by an operator to drive a commercial vehicle shall immediately indicate to the operator, in writing, all details of collisions, and that, as a result of the collision, A, no one was injured, B, no one died, C, the apparent cost to repair property damage was less than $2,000. All other collisions must be reported to a peace officer. Operator. When a driver tells the operator about a collision, the operator should include this information in the driver's qualification file. It is recommended that all collisions in which the driver has been involved should be reported to the operator. These include collisions that occur in private vehicles as well as the operator's vehicles. Operators should keep records of all collisions, conduct evaluations, and take corrective action. 4. Disclosure of violations scored in a facility audit. Driver. Any driver of commercial vehicles should report any and all convictions resulting from the operation of a motor vehicle to the operator. This should be done in writing at the time of the conviction. Operator. When a driver reports a conviction, the operator should keep the report for the current year and retain reports for 4 years if applicable. Operators should review each violation and document all corrective action. 5. Driver abstract scored in a facility audit. Driver. Drivers should be required to provide the operator with a current driver abstract or sign a release form allowing the operator to obtain the abstract. Operator. The operator should obtain a driving abstract upon hiring a new driver and at least every year after that. The operator should set up an internal process to make sure that abstracts are obtained. 6. Annual review of driver fitness. Operator. Before hiring a driver and for every year after that, the operator should review the driving abstract and decide whether or not the driver is fit to drive according to company policy. The operator should record the review in the driver qualification file. A copy of the driver's current medical certificate must also be filed. Alternatively, an operator could satisfy this requirement if the driver's file contained a copy of the employee's valid driver's license and/or a current copy of the driver's abstract. The review can range in scope from a formal employee appraisal interview to a dated and signed statement of the driver abstract. The review should include the date and a written confirmation by the operator that the driver is fit to continue driving. This document should be signed by the operator representative who conducted the driver evaluation and by the person who approved the driver's fitness. 7. Progressive discipline. The operator should have a program of progressive discipline for company personnel who violate hours of service and other regulations. The program must be consistent with federal and provincial legislation. The policy and the discipline procedure should be outlined, listing the steps up to and including termination. For example, this could be a 4-step process involving a verbal warning, a written warning, a suspension, and termination. The operator should record each event and be sure that the employees know each step of the policy. As each step of the policy is enforced, the employee is notified in writing of the next step. If the violation happens again, the employee is notified. The policy is enforced in a consistent manner. Number 8, Certificate of Dangerous Goods training scored in a facility audit. Driver. Every driver who transports dangerous goods must possess a valid certificate of training that must be issued by their current employer. In Canada, the certificate of training is valid for a maximum of 3 years. Operator. Every employer who issues a certificate of training shall keep a copy of it in the driver's file for a period of at least 2 years longer than the expiry date of that certificate. Recommended additional documentation. In addition to the required documents outlined previously, the Ministry of Transportation suggests that the operator keep the following information in the driver qualification files: road test, examinations or other supporting documentation used to train and evaluate staff, alcohol and drug testing records. Drug testing is not a requirement for operators in Ontario. Incident reporting processes and procedures. Consider setting up a committee to investigate all collisions, near misses, and incidents in which employees are injured and/or equipment or goods are damaged. This committee may include management and staff. All collisions, near misses, and incidents should be reported and investigated, no matter how small. A near miss can easily result in an injury or a fatality and should be thoroughly investigated. In the event of a collision, the operator should have a policy in place for employees to follow, which may include procedures a driver must follow when involved in a collision. Many companies provide an information kit in all vehicles, including a camera. Procedures for forwarding collision information as soon as possible to the Collision Incident Investigation Committee for investigation. Reporting summary form. Emergency contacts. Incident response procedures. The committee may provide recommendations based on established written guidelines regarding preventable and non-preventable collisions. The committee may be able to detect patterns for the collisions, incidents, and make recommendations on how to avoid further mishaps. Response procedures should also include discussing the collision incident at the next regularly scheduled safety meeting. Collision evaluation. Company collision statistics should be maintained to better understand the causes and address collision prevention. Consider the following factors: day of the week, time of the day, hours driven over a period of time, driver age, driver experience, preventable or non-preventable, location, environmental factors such as weather, road conditions, etc. Substance abuse policy. Substance abuse refers to continuous or excessive use of legal substances such as alcohol and prescription drugs, as well as the use of illegal substances. Consider putting a zero tolerance clause in your policy for any substance that impairs an employee's ability to carry out their job responsibilities. Discipline process. Using driver input, develop and follow a progressive disciplinary plan. Depending upon the number, severity, and preventability of collisions incidents over a period of time, the disciplinary plan may include a system of warnings, suspension, additional training, and termination. Before any disciplinary action is taken, drivers should have prior knowledge of the disciplinary plan obtained through staff orientation, training, or at regularly scheduled safety meetings. All actions taken, including verbal warnings, should be documented and included in the employee file. Compliance with legislation. Successful companies complete ongoing checks to ensure that legislation and policies and procedures are being followed. Random checks can be completed prior to monthly/quarterly staff safety meetings. This will give the company the opportunity to rectify problems on a timely basis, reduce collisions and injuries, and minimize expenses. Regularly select a sample of files for monitoring. Check driver records to ensure accuracy. Check logbooks for violations and accuracy. Be sure that drivers are following policies and procedures such as daily inspections and load security. Check vehicle files to ensure that maintenance is up to date and effective. Conduct annual reviews of driver and vehicle performance. Discuss your findings with the employees. Commercial Vehicle Operators Safety Manual, Module 8. Preventative maintenance, record keeping, and vehicle files. Overview. Preventative maintenance, record keeping, and vehicle files learning objectives. Truck, bus, and trailer maintenance. Purpose, requirements, performance standards. Preventative maintenance program. Vehicle inspections. Daily inspections. Purpose, brief overview of daily inspection program. Vehicles that require daily inspection. Vehicles exempt from daily inspection. Inspection required by driver or other person. Inspection procedures. Daily inspection schedules. Application of inspection schedule. Ontario's 6 daily inspection schedules. Under vehicle inspections, see Schedule 4. Carry and produce schedules. Where to get inspection schedules. Daily inspection reports. Types of daily inspection reports. Completing daily inspection reports. Validity period of daily inspection reports. Carry and produce daily inspection reports. Submitting daily inspection reports to the operator. Single daily inspection reports. Daily inspection report books. Where to get daily inspection reports. Handing over valid daily inspection reports to another driver. Contents of daily inspection reports. Sample daily inspection reports. Certification of repairs. Daily inspection report books kept in the vehicle. Vehicle defects. Recording defects. Reporting defects. Driving with defects. Use of electronic device and documents. Daily inspection report retention period and location. Out of province and US vehicles. Out of province Canadian vehicles. US trucks, trailers, and buses operating in Ontario. Ontario trucks and trailers and buses traveling in the US. Periodic mandatory commercial motor vehicle inspection, PMVI. Brief overview of the periodic commercial motor vehicle inspections. Out of province considerations. Vehicles that are subject to periodic mandatory inspections. Annual inspections. Semi-annual inspections. Vehicles that do not require annual or semi-annual inspections. Inspection criteria. Ontario's modifications to the national standard. Use and application of PMVI inspection stickers. Truck, mobile equipment vehicle, trailer and converter dolly. Buses, accessible vehicles, and school bus and school purposes vehicles. PMVI record keeping, Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, CVSA inspections, levels of inspection, safety standards certificates, bus inspections, vehicle record keeping, records to be retained, retention, retention period for records, retention location for records, electronic records, internal evaluation of an operator's preventative maintenance program, lists of appendices, Appendix A, daily inspection schedules 1 to 6, Appendix B, sample daily inspection reports. Overview. The Commercial Safety and Compliance Branch of the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario has prepared this guide to assist and ensure that truck and bus companies, commercial vehicle operators, operate safely and are compliant with the regulations that govern highway use. Ontario, other provinces, the Government of Canada, and the transportation industry developed the rules and regulations to help reduce the number and severity of collisions. Each jurisdiction has used the National Safety Code standards as guides in drafting their own transportation safety legislation. This approach promotes uniformity across Canada and helps to ensure that the transportation industry remains as viable and sustainable as possible. This guide applies to Ontario operators of commercial motor vehicles that are trucks, tractors, mobile equipment vehicles or trailers, and/or any combination of these vehicles that have a registered gross weight or actual weight of more than 4,500 kilograms. Tow trucks, regardless of registered gross weight or actual weight. Buses with a manufactured seating capacity of 10 persons or more, excluding the driver. Accessible vehicles and school purposes vehicles, depending upon use. The guide contains several modules, each dealing with a specific topic. To get a complete picture of compliance requirements, you should obtain the complete guide. If you intend to use certain parts of this guide only, for example, Module 1, Getting Started, it is recommended that you also obtain modules Introduction and Commercial Vehicle Operators Registration. This is a guide only and is not meant to be a substitute for relevant statutes and regulations. This guide highlights some important legal provisions, but it is not an exhaustive description of all the laws that apply. Preventative maintenance, record keeping, and vehicle files, learning objectives. As you work through this module, you will be able to determine if you need a preventative maintenance program, determine your responsibilities regarding your vehicles, plan for and complete required daily inspections, identify and plan for all required vehicle inspections, develop and use inspection schedules and inspection reports, meet the requirements of the Commercial Vehicle Inspection Program, CVIP, meet the requirements of Driver and Vehicle Roadside Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, CVSA, inspections conducted on drivers and vehicles, meet the requirement of the Bus Information Tracking System, BITS, for bus operators, ensure that vehicle records are appropriately completed and kept. Truck, bus, and trailer maintenance. Purpose. The purpose of this module is to provide information to operators about the minimum requirements for the maintenance, inspection, and component performance standards for trucks, trailers, and buses. Requirements. Operators of trucks, buses, and towed trailers to which the regulations apply are required to establish a written schedule to periodically inspect and maintain vehicles, ensure that inspections and maintenance are carried out in accordance with the written schedule, ensure that vehicles meet the prescribed performance standards at all times while operating on a highway, ensure drivers conduct daily inspections, maintain valid annual or semi-annual inspections on all vehicles. Performance standards. Prescribed performance standards for the vehicle are set out in the following Highway Traffic Act regulations. HTA Regulation 199/07, Commercial Motor Vehicle Inspections, HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections, HTA Regulation 612, School Buses, HTA Regulation 587, Equipment. Preventative Maintenance Program. To meet regulatory requirements, a maintenance and inspection program must be established by the operator and recorded in a schedule. A program to periodically inspect and maintain vehicles can be a simple written or electronic document that sets out, for example, a stated time period and/or distance when a vehicle requires its next inspection and/or maintenance activity. Inspections and maintenance intervals are commonly linked. For example, an inspection is due at 30,000 kilometers or 3 months, whichever occurs first. Non-safety related maintenance items such as oil changes and tune-ups can be included in the schedule. An annual or semi-annual safety inspection can also be part of the written schedule. Each operator must review the regulations to which requirements apply to them and should draft their maintenance and inspection program accordingly. An operator must maintain a copy of their maintenance program at their principal place of business or at another terminal or business address specified by them. It is the operator's responsibility to ensure that commercial vehicles are inspected according to all provincial regulations and are maintained in a safe operating condition. Employees understand the maintenance program requirements that apply to them. The program is fully implemented. All vehicle files are maintained as specified by Section 16 of HTA Regulation 199/07, Commercial Motor Vehicle Inspections. The maintenance records required by Section 16 of HTA Regulation 199/07 are retained for 2 years or 6 months after the vehicle ceases to be used by the operator. Processes are in place to monitor the effectiveness of the maintenance program. Vehicle inspections. Commercial motor vehicles are subject to a number of inspections and record-keeping requirements. The next sections of this module outline the requirements, frequency, and record-keeping for the following. Daily inspection. HTA Regulation 199/07, Commercial Motor Vehicle Inspections. Number 2, annual inspections. HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections. 3, semi-annual inspections. Buses, accessible vehicles, and school purposes vehicles. HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections. CVSA inspections. Number 5, Safety Standard Certificates, HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections. Number 6, bus inspections. Daily inspections. Purpose. The purpose of the daily vehicle inspection is to ensure that problems and defects have been identified before the vehicle is operated on the highway. Inspections prevent the operation of a vehicle with problems that are likely to cause or contribute to the severity of an accident. Brief overview of daily inspection program. Driver conducts an inspection of a vehicle or vehicles before operating them. The inspection is conducted with the use of a schedule listing the vehicle components and systems that require inspection. Driver completes a report of the inspection. The inspection and report are valid for 24 hours. The driver carries the inspection schedule and report in the vehicle. Driver also records on the report any defects found while en route and at the end of the trip or day. Driver reports defects to the operator at the time they are discovered. The operator must repair the defect immediately or before the next dispatch and keep records of repair. Vehicles that require daily inspection. Trucks, mobile equipment vehicles, trailers, and converter dollies that, on their own or in combination, have a total gross weight or registered gross weight exceeding 4,500 kilograms. As of January 1st, 2023, tow trucks, regardless of registered gross weight or actual weight, buses designed to transport 10 or more passengers, and any trailer towed by one of these vehicles. Intercity bus, commonly known as motor coach, that has motive power mounted to the rear of the front axle, air ride or torsion bar suspension, a baggage area that is separate from the passenger cabin, and a passenger cabin with reclining seats for passengers. Accessible buses, modified to be used to transport persons with disabilities, if not being used for personal purposes only, and every trailer towed by one of these vehicles. School purposes vehicles and buses, operating under contract with a school board or other authority in charge of a school, and being used for the transportation of 6 or more children or adults with a developmental disability. Vehicles exempt from daily inspection. General vehicles. A truck with a combined registered gross weight and actual weight of 4,500 kilograms or less, whether towing a trailer or not. As of January 1st, 2023, all tow trucks, regardless of weight, will be required to complete a daily inspection. A personal use pickup truck or bus. A truck or bus leased for personal use by an individual for 30 days or less. A commercial motor vehicle that is being road tested for the purposes of repairs within 30 kilometers of a facility where the vehicle is being repaired by an automotive service technician or a truck and coach technician who hold valid certification under the Apprenticeship and Certification Act 1998 or by an apprentice under that act. An empty truck or bus operated under the authority of a dealer plate or service plate, a historic vehicle with permit, an ambulance, fire vehicle, cardiac arrest emergency vehicle, hearse, casket wagon, and tow truck. An emergency vehicle with towed trailer while responding to or returning from an emergency. A truck towed trailer providing relief from an earthquake, flood, fire, famine, drought, epidemic, pestilence, or other disaster by transporting passengers or goods. A trailer converter dolly that is not carrying a trailer. A road building machine. A bus and towed trailer that is operated by or on behalf of a municipality as part of public transit service, either within the municipality or within 25 kilometers of its boundary. Recreational vehicles. A motorhome and pickup truck with the camper installed, including any type of trailer or vehicle towed by the motorhome or truck camper. A truck, regardless of size and weight, that is towing a house trailer being used for personal purposes. A house trailer being used for personal purposes. A car tow dolly. Farm vehicles. A 2 or 3 axle truck or tractor not drawing a trailer that is mainly used to transport primary products of a farm, forest, sea, or lake, which are produced or harvested by the driver or the driver's employees. Includes farm plated trucks. Primary products including fruit, vegetables, livestock, horses, and poultry. A self-propelled implement of husbandry, farm tractor, or any towed farm equipment. Farm equipment towed by a commercial motor vehicle. Inspection required by driver or other person. Drivers are not permitted to operate a commercial motor vehicle or bus or tow a trailer unless the driver or another person has conducted an inspection of the vehicle within the previous 24 hours. In addition to the initial inspection, whether conducted by the driver or not, The driver is required to monitor the condition of the vehicle for defects while en route. Other people, such as another driver, maintenance, or yard staff, are also permitted to conduct inspections. They must sign the report and are responsible under the law for the inspection and the information contained in it. In order for the driver to utilize an inspection done by another individual, the driver must sign the inspection report. The driver may rely on such inspections as proof that the inspection was conducted as required and produce the report for an officer, unless the driver has reason to believe that the inspection and report do not meet the requirements, or the driver is aware or ought to be aware that the vehicle has a defect. If the driver has doubts about the inspection and report, they should complete a new inspection of the vehicle. Note: only the driver is referenced as the inspection person throughout the remainder of this document. Inspection procedures. Drivers may choose an inspection procedure, circle procedure, or walk around that best suits the vehicle and its location. You may inspect vehicle components in any order that you choose as long as each item on the inspection schedule is inspected. The defects that are discovered must be recorded on the inspection report and the operator notified about the defects. Drivers are also required to carry and produce an inspection schedule based on the vehicle, as well as a corresponding valid inspection report. Daily inspection schedules. Application of inspection schedule. Sample inspection schedules are available in Appendix A of this module. HTA Regulation 199/07 has 6 inspection schedules. Drivers are to use the schedule that is based on the type of commercial motor vehicle being operated. The schedules outline the inspection criteria and identify if a defect is minor or major. The way a driver handles a vehicle defect will differ, depending on whether it is a minor defect or a major defect. If a driver finds no defect on the vehicle as defined in the inspection schedule, then no defect is recorded and the inspection is valid for 24 hours. If a driver finds a minor defect on the vehicle as defined in the inspection schedule, the defect must be recorded and reported to the operator as soon as possible. The operator is required to repair any defects that do not meet the performance standards. The inspection is valid for 24 hours. If a driver finds a major defect on the vehicle as defined in the inspection schedule, the vehicle cannot be operated. The driver must record the defect, report it to the operator immediately, and the vehicle must be repaired prior to operation. Ontario's 6 daily inspection schedules. Schedule 1 is used to inspect a truck, tractor, and towed trailer. A converter dolly is inspected as part of the trailer it is carrying. The dolly must be inspected again when carrying a different trailer. Schedule 2 is used to inspect a bus, other than a school purposes bus, intercity bus, accessible bus, and towed trailer. Schedule 2 continues to apply when one of these vehicles is being used for school charter trips. Schedule 2 is also used to inspect any trailer towed by a bus, school purposes bus, or school purposes vehicle. An intercity bus may be inspected using Schedule 2 only, or may be inspected using Schedules 3 and 4 in combination with each other. Schedule 5 is used to inspect a yellow school bus, school purposes bus, and school purposes accessible bus. This applies even when a school bus is used for non-school purposes, for example, carrying adults or children to festivals, sporting events, church functions, and so on. A bus is considered to be for school purposes if it has been operated by the current operator under contract with a school board or other authority in charge of a school for school service or school charters. Schedule 6 is used to inspect a school purposes vehicle, van, or station wagon. A daily inspection is required only when one of these vehicles is operating under contract with a school board or other authority in charge of a school and is being used for the transportation of six or more children, six or more adults with a developmentally disability, or six or more persons from both categories. Under vehicle inspections, Schedule 4. If an intercity bus is inspected using Schedule 3, then a Schedule 4 under vehicle inspection must be completed every 12,000 kilometers or 30 days, whichever comes last. These inspections are conducted by technicians who hold a valid certificate of qualification as a truck and coach technician. The inspection requires a detailed examination of the under vehicle components and systems of the bus. Schedule 4 inspections are conducted while the bus is positioned over a pit or raised in a manner that provides adequate access to all of the applicable under vehicle components. Technicians are required to sign the Schedule 4 inspection report certifying that the components and systems inspected under Schedule 4 meet the prescribed standards on the date of inspection. Carry and produce schedules. Drivers are required to carry and produce the inspection schedule upon request by an officer. The schedule and inspection report may be combined in the same document. If more than one schedule is used for the commercial vehicle, then all relevant schedules must be carried by the driver. For example, a motor coach towing a trailer may have schedules 3 and 4 for the intercity bus and schedule 2 for the trailer. Where to get inspection schedules. Operators are required to supply drivers with a copy of the inspection schedule. Regulated schedules are provided in the appendix of this module and may be copied or reproduced without consent of the ministry. Schedules 1, 2, 3, and 4 of National Safety Code Standard 13, published by Canadian Council of Transport Administrators, CCMTA, is also acceptable in Ontario, including when produced by the operator of an Ontario plated commercial motor vehicle. School buses and school purposes vehicles must be inspected using Schedules 5 and 6, respectively, of HTA Regulation 199/07. CCMTA schedules can be found on the CCMTA's website. Operators may add additional sections that contain more inspection components and systems to a schedule. Inspection items within sections that have been added by the operator and are not part of the regulated inspection items are not required to be inspected, recorded, or reported as defects. Operators may require drivers to inspect, record, and report these added defects or conditions. If a vehicle is not fitted with a system or component, for example, air brakes, then the entire section can be deleted. Section numbers may be deleted or renumbered. However, individually regulating inspection items within a section, such as audible air leak, cannot be removed unless the entire section is deleted and the vehicle does not have air brakes. Also, individually regulated inspection items cannot be moved between minor and major columns within a schedule or be reworded. Operators are permitted to regroup the minor and major defect columns, provided the regrouping does not confuse the reader. Operators are free to add defect codes within the columns of a schedule. A code number or letter is placed beside a component or a system on a schedule. When a defect is found, the driver can enter the defect code on the inspection report instead of handwriting the details. When defect codes are added to the schedule and used by a driver, a coded schedule must be presented to the enforcement officer. See the appendices at the end of this module for an acceptable inspection schedule. Daily inspection reports. Sample inspection reports are available in Appendix B of this module. Inspection reports serve as communication between drivers, the operator, and the operator's maintenance department. Reports are used to verify inspections, record defects, report defects, and may be used to verify repairs. Reports are completed immediately following an inspection. Types of daily inspection reports. Single day sheet report. A report can consist of a single sheet of paper containing one day's information. This type of report can be located at the back of an hours of service logbook or in a snap set where one report is removed for each day and so on. Multi-day report book. This contains lines for each day that the vehicle is inspected. The book is assigned to one vehicle and may remain in the vehicle until the book is full. The basic vehicle information is written once on the front cover or elsewhere within the book. The book may also contain the vehicle's inspection schedule. The information provided about inspection reports applies to both types of reports unless the report type is specifically named. Completing daily inspection reports. The driver is required to fill out and sign a report upon completion of the inspection. Bus drivers are required to fill out and sign a report upon completion of the inspection, regardless of the distance to be traveled and whether or not passengers are carried. If the driver did not conduct the original inspection, the driver and each subsequent driver must sign the report. Reports that are used by more than one driver require additional lines for subsequent signatures. Any number of trailers may be inspected and added to a single report if the report contains additional lines for additional trailers. All information required on a report must be accurate and complete. Validity period of daily inspection reports. A report certifying schedules 1, 2, 3, 5, or 6 inspections are valid for 24 hours from the time of inspection. A Schedule 3 inspection must be accompanied by a Schedule 4 under vehicle inspection report. A report completed and certified by a technician for a Schedule 4 under vehicle inspection is valid to the end of the 30th day after the day of the inspection, or 12,000 kilometers, whichever comes last. Carry and produce daily inspection reports. Drivers must carry and produce valid inspection reports upon request of an officer. Drivers who are towing a trailer must record the information for the power unit and the trailer on one report, or carry two inspection reports, one for the vehicle and one for the trailer. The driver of an intercity bus that has been inspected under Schedule 3 combined with Schedule 4 must carry and produce a report for both inspections. Completed Schedule 4 inspection reports are supplied by the operator who receives the report from the technician. When an intercity bus has been inspected under Schedule 3 combined with Schedule 4, but the Schedule 4 under vehicle inspection has expired and a new Schedule 4 inspection cannot be completed, the bus must be inspected under Schedule 2. In this case, a copy of Schedule 2 must be carried and produced. Submitting daily inspection reports to the operator. Single daily inspection reports. Expired reports must be forwarded to the operator as soon as possible, but no later than 20 days after the date of inspection. Reports must be forwarded to the operator's principal place of business or to a terminal or business address specified by the operator. Daily inspection report books. Report books that are full or have passed the operator's predetermined end date or use period must be forwarded to the operator's principal place of business or to a terminal or business address specified by the operator. Note: If the daily inspection reports are contained in a book that is kept in the commercial motor vehicle and the operator has regular access to the vehicle, the reports are deemed to be submitted when they are in the truck, bus, or school purposes vehicle and do not have to be forwarded to the office within the 20-day time frame. Where to get daily inspection reports? Operators are required to supply drivers with the appropriate reports. Handing over valid daily inspection reports to another driver. A driver may hand over a valid original copy of a daily inspection report to another driver who is driving for the same operator. The second driver is obligated to submit the report to the operator. A driver may hand over a duplicate copy of the original inspection report or a handwritten reproduction to a driver working for a different operator. In this case, each driver must submit a report to their respective operators. There is no legal obligation under the HTA for a driver to hand over a report to another driver, whether or not they drive for the same operator. However, there may be contractual or an employment law obligation to pass along a report to another driver. A driver who receives a valid daily or under vehicle report for a vehicle that was inspected by another person may rely on the report as proof that the inspection was conducted as required, unless the driver has reason to believe otherwise. The report is valid provided the current driver has signed the inspection report. Contents of daily inspection reports. Both single reports and report books must contain the following minimum line items: license plate number and plate jurisdiction of the vehicle, operator's name, date and time of the inspection, city, town, village, or highway location where the inspection was conducted, printed name of the person who conducted the inspection, odometer reading of the commercial motor vehicle, list of any major and minor defects found during the inspection, if any, a statement that no major or minor defects were found, if none, major and minor defects found while en route, a statement signed by the person who conducted the inspection that the vehicle was inspected in accordance with this regulation, signature of any driver of the vehicle who did not conduct the initial inspection. Line item language may be altered to a like meaning. Any altered language must continue to indicate what the completed information means. Operators are free to add and rearrange line items. The Ministry of Transportation does not approve blank inspection reports for operators. The operator is required to purchase or create a report that complies with the requirements of Section 7 of Regulation 199/07, Daily Inspection Report. Operators can combine daily inspection reports with schedules, and they can be on the same document. Single reports may be combined with hours of service logbooks as long as the line items for both requirements are included. Here are two examples. Example 1. The daily inspection report requires a line item for the odometer reading. The logbook requires the driver to record the odometer readings at the start and end of the shift trip. Also, if the driver uses the vehicle for personal transportation to a place of lodging or so on during the trip, there is a requirement to enter the start and finish odometer readings for this personal distance traveled. Therefore, a combined daily report and logbook may require 5 different odometer line items representing 5 readings. If the daily inspection were conducted at a different distance from where the driver started the trip and the vehicle was used for personal purposes during the trip. If a vehicle is never used for personal purposes during a trip, it is not necessary to have those odometer line items on either a logbook report or a combined daily report. Example 2. If the vehicle is always inspected at the same starting location as the driver's trip or shift, a checkbox may be used to indicate that the odometer reading applies to the inspection reading as well as the driver's start reading. Odometer reading, start of driver's day, and at time of inspection, enter value. Sample daily inspection reports. Inspection report formats and layouts are not prescribed by regulation. The regulation sets out a minimum of information to be recorded on a report. Reports may, at the option of the operator, contain an inspection checklist and additional information. Single reports may be printed at the back of hours of service logbooks. Information may be permanently printed on the reports when it does not change. For example, operator's name, plate number, and so on. Reports may also be printed with the vehicle's inspection schedules. Report other than report books may be produced in carbon or carbonless sets that automatically create extra copies when the top page is completed. Some operators may prefer to use multi-copied reports for internal distribution purposes. Also, valid, legible copies of these reports may be passed on to the next driver of a vehicle, while the person who inspected the vehicle retains the original. Many variations of a report are possible, depending on the operation of the vehicles and inspection personnel. Operators are free to create a report that best meets the needs of their operation. In the following samples, signatures of each driver who was not the inspection person may be removed if the vehicle is inspected by the driver and not driven by a second driver. See the appendices at the end of this module for samples. Certification of repairs. Ontario operators may include a certification of repairs section on inspection reports to track defects and repairs. When a report lists a defect and the defect was repaired without the operator creating a separate repair order, the repair and any parts used must be noted on the report. In this case, the report becomes a maintenance record and must be retained for 2 years. This applies whether or not the report contains a separate certification of repairs section. Samples may be found in the appendices at the end of this module. Daily inspection report books kept in the vehicle. Report books kept in the vehicle may only be used for a vehicle that returns at the end of the day to a location where the operator has access to the vehicle and the book. The operator must be able to produce the book upon an officer's request. Also, defects written in the book must be reported to the operator verbally, by telephone, or other means when the book is not handed to the operator. A report book must be carried and produced upon the request of an officer. If the inspection schedule is not contained within the book, the driver is required to carry and produce the applicable schedule. The following information must be printed somewhere on or in the book: operator's name, license plate number, plate jurisdiction of the vehicle, sample optional information items may be printed somewhere on or in the book: unit number, vehicle identification number, make of vehicle, year of vehicle, period covered. See the appendices at the end of this module for samples. Vehicle defects. Recording defects. The driver is required to record a defect on the report immediately after the initial inspection. Upon discovery of a defect while traveling, at the first opportunity when the vehicle is stopped and parked safely off the highway, or when discovered at the end of a trip or day. Reporting defects. For the purposes of reporting defects, the operator may designate an employee to receive them. Minor and major defects, which are listed in a schedule, must be reported to the operator immediately upon discovery by the driver or inspection person. Depending upon the driver's situation, reporting to the operator may be done in person, by phone, via written report, or by electronic means. Driving with defects. A driver may continue to drive with a minor defect that is listed on an inspection schedule if the defect has been entered immediately on the daily inspection report and reported to the operator. It is a defense for a driver if charged with a defect under another part of the HTA when that defect is also listed on the vehicle's inspection schedule. This defense applies only if the driver has found, recorded, and reported the defect to the operator prior to an examination of the vehicle by an officer. It is important to note that while the driver has a defense for driving with a minor defect listed on a schedule, the operator can be charged. Example, the driver repeatedly notes the defect, but repairs are not completed by the operator. Use of electronic devices and documents. Daily inspection reports and under-vehicle reports, results of an inspection, and inspection schedules may be kept in an electronic recording device. When requested by an officer, the driver is required to produce at the driver's option either an electronic display of the report or schedule that is readable from outside the vehicle by the officer, a printed copy of the report or schedule signed by the driver after printing, a handwritten copy of the report or schedule signed by the driver. Note, the electronic display is not required to have a signature. An officer may, at his or her discretion, enter a vehicle to read the screen of an in-cab permanently attached device. Vehicle maintenance, repair records, and documents may also be kept in electronic format, provided that the operator or a person designated by the operator prints and signs a copy of a report or document when requested by an officer. Daily inspection report retention period and location. Inspection reports and notices issued by an officer are to be stored at the operator's principal place of business or at a terminal or business address specified by the operator. Daily inspection reports are to be kept for at least 6 months. However, if it is also used to record a repair or work done on the vehicle, it is deemed to be a maintenance report and must be retained for at least 2 years or 6 months after the vehicle ceases to be the operator's responsibility. Out of province and U.S. vehicles. Out of province Canadian vehicles. Vehicles plated in a territory, in a province or territory other than Ontario, may operate in Ontario if the vehicles were inspected and an inspection report completed in accordance with the daily inspection requirements of the province or territory in which the vehicle is base plated, National Safety Code Standard 13, Ontario HTA Regulation 199/07 as detailed in this module. This applies regardless of the distance to be traveled in Ontario and whether or not inspection rules apply or the vehicle is exempt in its home province or territory. This also applies to out-of-province plated vehicles that are driven by Ontario licensed drivers who drive the vehicle only within Ontario. U.S. trucks, trailers, and buses operating in Ontario. Trucks or buses bearing U.S. plates may operate in Ontario if the vehicles were inspected and a daily inspection report completed in accordance with the daily inspection requirements of the U.S. or any province, including Ontario, or in accordance with National Safety Code Standard 13 as of May 2008, which is published by the Canadian Council of Motor Transport Administrators. Where a daily inspection was completed in accordance with U.S. requirements, the driver must carry and produce a daily inspection report that is not more than 24 hours old. Where a driver does not have access to the vehicle's daily inspection report, an inspection must be conducted in accordance with Ontario rules. The driver must carry a U.S. report that complies with U.S. requirements that is not more than 24 hours old or complete an inspection report that complies with HTA Regulation 199/07 in Ontario. Note, in the US, drivers are not required to do a trip inspection report if no defects are found during an inspection. This does not allow them to come to Ontario without a trip inspection report. If no report is completed in the US, then a driver must complete a report in compliance with Ontario regulations, NSC Standard 13, or another province in order to be compliant in Ontario. Ontario trucks, buses, and Ontario trucks and trailers and buses traveling in the US. Ontario daily inspections and daily inspection reports are acceptable in the US. Periodic mandatory commercial motor vehicle inspection, PMVI. Periodic inspections are required for commercial motor vehicles, trailers, and converter dollies in order to reduce accidents due to mechanical defects and improve highway safety throughout Canada. The annual and semi-annual inspection requirements are the minimum under the law. Operators may find that, in order to properly maintain their vehicles' on-road standards, additional inspections and maintenance are required. As of January 1st, 2023, all tow trucks, regardless of registered gross weight or actual weight, will be required to complete a periodic inspection. Brief overview of the periodic commercial motor vehicle inspections. In Ontario, annual, semi-annual, and safety standards certificates inspections must be completed by a licensed motor vehicle inspection mechanic at an MTO licensed inspection station. Trucks, mobile equipment, and vehicles, trailers, and converter dollies require one inspection per year. An annual inspection is valid for 12 months. Buses, school purposes vehicles used for transporting 6 or more persons, and accessible vehicles require 2 inspections per year. A semi-annual inspection is valid for 6 months. If a vehicle meets all of the requirements of an annual or semi-annual inspection, a corresponding sticker is applied to the vehicle and a certificate and report is issued by the inspecting station. Safety standards certificates are required for registering a rebuilt motor vehicle, transferring a used motor vehicle to a new owner as fit, registering a motor vehicle in Ontario that was previously registered in another province or country, and changing the status of a vehicle from unfit to fit. If a vehicle meets all the requirements of safety standard certificate inspection, the certificate is issued and the vehicle is deemed fit. Out of province considerations. The legislation regarding periodic mandatory inspections varies between jurisdictions. Ontario's inspections are accepted in other jurisdictions, and Ontario accepts inspections from other jurisdictions, provided they are recognized as meeting a similar standard. However, the length of time that the inspection is valid varies between jurisdictions. Operators should check with the requirements of all jurisdictions in which they intend to operate prior to doing business there. Vehicles that are subject to a periodic mandatory inspection. Annual inspections. Trucks, mobile equipment vehicles, trailers, and converter dollies alone, or in combination with a total gross weight, registered gross weight, or manufacturer's GVWR exceeding 4,500 kilograms. As of January 1st, 2023, tow trucks, regardless of registered gross weight or actual weight. Truck includes but is not limited to truck tractors, straight trucks, pickup trucks, curbside, cube vans, trade vans, panel trucks. Trailer includes but is not limited to boat, snowmobile, livestock, and general purpose utility trailers. Trailer does not include devices such as tar pots, portable welders, cement mixers, compressors, and farm implements such as wagons and so on. Mobile equipment vehicle means 1, a mobile crane that is not built on a truck, chassis, but not an off-road mobile crane. 2, an excavator that is not built on a truck chassis, but not an off-road excavator. 3, a street sweeper that is not built on a truck chassis, but not a low-speed street sweeper. Semi-annual inspection. Buses designed to transport 10 or more passengers, excluding those with a manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating of 4,500 kilograms or less, used exclusively for personal use. Accessible vehicles modified for the purpose of transporting people with disabilities, excluding those used for personal purposes. School purposes vehicles operating under contract with a school board or authority in charge of a school, being used for the transportation of 6 or more children or adults with a developmental disability. Bus includes, but is not limited to, any vehicle designed to transport 10 or more passengers, excluding the driver. For example, passenger van, limousine, motor coach, school bus, and so on. Accessible vehicles includes, but is not limited to, any vehicle that has been modified for transporting people with disabilities, whether or not the vehicle is used for transporting those without disabilities. For example, a minivan, passenger van, or taxi that has been modified for accessibility. School purposes vehicle includes, but is not limited to, any vehicle operating under contract with a school board or other authority in charge of a school for the transportation of 6 or more children or adults with a developmental disability. Vehicles that do not require annual or semi-annual inspections. A motor vehicle, commonly known as a recreational vehicle or a motorhome, as long as it is not carrying commercial cargo or tools or equipment of a type normally used for commercial purposes, carrying animals or non-commercial tools, equipment, or vehicles that occupy one half or more of its floor space. 2, a house trailer, except for a house trailer that is owned or leased by an employer to house the employer's employees, carrying commercial cargo, tools or equipment of a type normally used for commercial purposes, carrying animals or non-commercial tools, equipment, or vehicles that occupy one half or more of its floor space. Note, a house trailer includes a cabin trailer, collapsible cabin trailer, tent trailer, and camping trailer. 3, devices such as tar pots, portable welders, cement mixers, compressors, and farm implements such as wagons. 4, a bus with a GVWR of 4,500 kilograms or less, used exclusively for personal purposes. 5, an empty commercial vehicle operated by a manufacturer or vehicle dealer who has obtained a special permit for a 10-day period or has a dealer or service plate as per the requirements under the HTA Regulation 628 vehicle permits. 6, any unladen commercial motor vehicle or trailer operated under the authority of a service plate. 7, any laden commercial motor vehicle or trailer operated under the authority of a service plate being transported to an impound facility. Number 8, a personal use pickup truck and any trailer drawn by the pickup truck if the pickup truck has a manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating of 6,500 kilograms or less, and the pickup truck is fitted with either the original unmodified box that was installed by the manufacturer or an unmodified replacement box that duplicates the one originally installed by the manufacturer, and the pickup truck and trailer are being used for personal use without compensation, and the pickup truck and trailer are not carrying commercial tools or cargo or equipment of a type normally used for commercial purposes. Inspection criteria. Ontario, along with most Canadian jurisdictions, has adopted the National Safety Code 11, Part B, periodic commercial motor vehicle inspections. NSC 11B as the inspection criteria for annual, semi annual, and safety standards certificate inspections for commercial vehicles, school purposes vehicles, and accessible vehicles. HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections, contains the requirements for annual, semi annual, and safety standard certificates, along with modifications to the NSC 11B. Each page of the national standard is divided into two sections. The left side of the page lists the item and method of inspection, and the right side lists the corresponding rejection, pass, fail criteria. Each part is organized into sections of the vehicle. 1. Powertrain. 2. Suspension. 3. Hydraulic brakes. 3A. Air brakes. 4. Steering. 5. Instruments and auxiliary equipment. 6. Lamps. 7. Electrical system. 8. Body. 9. Tires and wheels. 10. Couplers and hitches. The national standard identifies hazardous conditions for each section. Hazardous conditions shown in the national standard are more serious vehicle conditions. In some provinces, inspection stations are authorized to take certain action to prevent the vehicle from returning to service until such conditions are repaired. These conditions have no unique status in Ontario. A copy of the national standard can be downloaded from the CCMTA website, Standard 11 Part B, Periodic Commercial Motor Vehicle Inspections. Ontario's modifications to the national standard. HTA Regulation 611, Safety Inspections. Schedule 3 lists the modifications to the national standard that must be applied in Ontario. While the province has adopted NSC 11B 2015 in almost its entirety, there are 4 areas where the provincial rule deviates from the national standard. Number 1, the limitations on window tinting will only apply to vehicles manufactured on or after July 1st, 2011, whereas the national standard has them applying retroactively. Number 2, the limitations on the size of an external sun visor will not apply to any vehicles in Ontario. Number 3, ABS requirements only apply to vehicles manufactured on or after April 1st, 2000. Limited brake inspections. A limited inspection of a drum brake is an inspection through inspection holes and involves no measurement of the shoe lining. A limited inspection of a disc brake involves no measurement of a rotor or brake pad. Use and application of PMVI inspection stickers for trucks, mobile equipment, vehicles, trailers, and converter dollies. For buses, accessible vehicles, and school purpose vehicles. Once the vehicle has passed inspection at a motor vehicle inspection station, the corresponding sticker must be applied to the vehicle to identify its successful completion and expiry date. The inspection station must also provide inspection certificates and reports. The process is outlined below based on vehicle type. Truck, mobile equipment vehicle, trailer, and converter dolly. Annual inspection must be completed as per the requirements in NSC 11B and HTA Regulation 611. A yellow annual inspection sticker is applied to the lower left-hand side of the windshield or in a conspicuous position on the left side of the truck cab, indicating the month and year the inspection was completed. All previous inspection stickers are covered or removed. The inspection is valid for 12 months. MVIS licensee must provide the owner-operator with a copy of the annual inspection certificate and annual inspection report. See record keeping for more details. buses, accessible vehicles, and school purposes vehicles. Semi-annual inspections must be completed as per the requirements in NSC 11B and HTA Regulation 611. An orange semi-annual inspection sticker is applied to the lower right-hand corner of the windshield on a fixed side window as close as practicable to the front of the vehicle or to a conspicuous play position on the right side of the vehicle body close to the front of the vehicle. All previous inspection stickers must be covered or removed. The semi-annual inspection sticker is valid for 6 months. A motor vehicle inspection station licensee must provide the operator with a copy of the semi-annual inspection certificate and the semi-annual inspection report. See record keeping for more details. PMVI record keeping. The following records are to be kept for a period of 1 year after the date of inspection for motor vehicle inspection stations and 2 years after the date of inspection for the operator. Annual and semi-annual inspection certificates are produced in triplicate. 1 copy is to be kept with the vehicle, 1 copy for the vehicle file operator, and 1 copy for the inspection station. Inspection record required for safety standards certificate. 1 copy is to be kept by the MVIS. These reports must identify the vehicle inspected, a list of defects, recommended repairs, and actual repairs. An annual inspection report or semi-annual inspection report is required for annual and semi-annual inspections. 2 copies are required, 1 to be kept by the MVIS and 1 is provided to the owner-operator of the vehicle. These reports must contain signature of mechanic and licensee, date of inspection, vehicle identification number, annual or semi-annual inspection number, information and measurements as required by the national standard, list of defects, recommended repairs, and actual repairs. If applicable, there must be the proof of brake inspection document provided by the vehicle owner operator confirming that an inspection has been completed by an MVIS licensed mechanic within the timeline prescribed in the standard based on the vehicle type and brake type. This is only required if the limited brake inspection is completed as per Section 3 of NSC 11B. Licensees may create their own inspection report provided all of the requirements outlined in HTA Regulation 601 are met. Inspection reports must be retained by MVIS for a period of 1 year after the date of inspection. MTO accepts paper or electronic versions of the report. Other vehicle inspections. Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, CVSA inspections. CVSA inspections are conducted by CVSA certified MTO inspectors on vehicles and drivers at roadside or at other operators' premises. These inspections may also be performed by members of the OPP, city and municipal law enforcement personnel who are certified as CVSA inspectors, and by designated staff from MTO's Commercial Safety and Compliance branch. The inspections are conducted in accordance with the criteria outlined by the CVSA on the roadside or by arrangement with the operator at theirs or other designated premises. Some inspections are initiated by CVSA inspectors in response to complaints about the condition of the operator's vehicle or vehicles. Bus inspections are arranged as part of the ministry's Bus Information Tracking System program. Operators are encouraged to take a proactive approach toward vehicle maintenance. Remember that CVSA inspection reports can be used to gauge the effectiveness of the operator's preventative maintenance program. Levels of inspection. There are 5 levels of inspection used in Ontario. Level 1, complete vehicle inspection with the driver. Level 2, driver and vehicle walk around. Level 3, driver-only inspection. Level 4, special inspection of one or more components. Level 5, complete inspection without a driver, usually completed at the operator's shop or yard. When there are no violations, the vehicle passes inspection. When a vehicle receives a pass in a level 1 or level 5 inspection, a CVSA decal is applied. This decal indicates that the vehicle passed inspection and is valid for current month and the following 2 months. During this time, further CVSA inspections are not typically required unless there is an observed safety concern. Some defects will result in a violation that requires attention. The driver is given a copy of the inspection report that is required to submit to the report to the operator. The vehicle must be repaired prior to its next dispatch. The operator may be required to send repair verification to the officer within a specified time period. When serious defects are found, the vehicle and/or the driver will be placed out of service. The vehicle and/or the driver will not be allowed back on the road until the out-of-service items have been addressed adequately. If repairs can be carried out on-site, the vehicle may be re-inspected and, if in compliance, allowed back in service. If on-site repairs are not possible, the vehicle cannot be driven but may be towed or transported to a repair site. License plates may be removed when vehicles are in this condition. In any case, the vehicle must be repaired as required. The operator may be required to have a complete safety standards certificate inspection conducted to obtain new plates, or the operator may be required to report back to the inspecting officer, confirming that the repair has been done as directed within the specified time period. An officer may prohibit a driver from operating a commercial motor vehicle for a variety of reasons, including exceeding the hours of service as specified by federal or provincial legislation. The driver may proceed after the necessary rest periods have been met. Copies of CVSA inspection reports must be kept in the office vehicle file for a period of 2 years. Specific details on the CVSA inspection program and its out-of-service criteria may be obtained from Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance, 6303 Ivy Lane, Suite 310, Greenbelt, MD, Maryland. Safety Standards Certificates. Safety standards certificates are required when registering a rebuilt motor vehicle, transferring a used motor vehicle to a new owner as fit, registering a motor vehicle in Ontario that was previously registered in another province or country, changing the status of a vehicle from unfit to fit. The National Safety Code Standard 11B inspection criteria will be used for trucks, trailers, buses, accessible vehicles, and school purposes vehicles as described previously. Vehicles that do not meet these definitions are inspected as per Schedules 1 and 2 in HTA Regulation 611 safety inspections. Bus inspections. Buses are subject to on-site inspections completed by MTO enforcement officers. These inspections take place at the origin, destination, or at bus terminals to ensure that the vehicles are mechanically fit and that the bus operator has met the legislated obligations, such as semi-annual inspections. These inspections are scheduled using a risk-based approach, considering factors such as age, size of the fleet, and past safety performance. Vehicle record keeping. Records to be retained. Operators are required to keep the following records for each truck, mobile equipment, vehicle, bus, accessible vehicle, school purposes vehicle, towed trailer, and converter dolly that is subject to the requirements outlined previously. Identification records for the vehicle, including the vehicle's unit number, if any, the vehicle's year and make, the vehicle's the vehicle's vehicle identification number. If the vehicle is not owned by the operator, the name of the person who supplies it, and the first and last dates when the vehicle was operated by the current operator. A record of inspections and maintenance of and repairs to the vehicle, including the nature of the inspections, maintenance, and repairs, the name of the person who conducted each inspection and performed each maintenance or repair. If an inspection, maintenance, or repair were performed by someone other than the operator or a person employed by the operator, the invoice or other record provided by that person who performed it. If a part was purchased and used in maintenance or in a repair, the invoice or receipt for that part. If the vehicle has an odometer, the odometer reading of the vehicle at the end of the inspection, maintenance, or repair. Note: invoices and receipts for the purchase of bulk parts must be maintained until the inventory has been depleted or at least 2 years has passed, whichever occurs first. Parts from all purchases, including bulk purchases, must be inventoried out on repair documents. It is not a requirement that a repair document shows an invoice or receipt number. It is not necessary to keep invoices within maintenance files. Invoices may be maintained within accounts payable, provided the operator can supply the invoices to an auditor at the time of an audit. These types and frequencies must be shown under the operator's system of periodic inspections and maintenance. A record must be kept of any axle or suspension modifications of the vehicle that affect the manufacturer's GVWR or gross axle weight rating. Copies must be retained of safety standards, certificates, annual inspection certificates, and semi-annual inspection certificates issued for the vehicle, as well as copies of equivalent documents from other jurisdictions. Copies must also be kept of inspection notices, reports, and appearance notices issued by an enforcement officer or government official or other of another jurisdiction. Retention period for records. When a report lists a defect that was repaired without the operator creating a separate repair order, the repair and any parts used must be noted in the report. In this case, the report becomes a maintenance record and must be retained for 2 years. This applies whether or not the report contains a separate certification of repairs section. Retention location for records. Records are kept at the operator's principal place of business, at another terminal, or at the business address of the operator. Where a record or document is in electronic form that would allow a printed copy to be generated, it may be stored at any location as long as it is can be accessed readily by the operator from the principal place of business. Electronic records. Any record or document that is required to be created, kept, or surrendered may be done so in electronic format. An electronic record or document does not require a signature. Operators who keep records and documents in electronic format must be capable of printing a copy. Internal evaluation of an operator's preventative maintenance program. It is recommended that the preventative maintenance program be evaluated periodically by the operator to ensure that it is effective and that vehicles are kept in safe operating condition at all times. Several sources of information can be used to measure the effectiveness of the program. Results of the CVSA inspections measure the effectiveness of daily inspections. Analysis of CVSA reports, annual inspection reports, and carrier profiles may identify the source of problems, such as the quality of internal inspections, mechanical work, and driver habits. Some steps may be taken to fix the source of these problems by making changes to the preventative maintenance program, providing additional training, more detailed monitoring, and/or taking disciplinary action. The result will be fewer collisions and less risk to the public and the driver. Operators will also save money. The operator's CVOR Level 2 carrier abstract, which lists all violations, convictions, CVSA inspections, and collisions, can be obtained from the Ontario Ministry of Transportation. List of appendices: Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3. Appendix A, Daily Inspections, Schedules 1 to 6. Copy of regulated inspection schedules, 3-column format. The following schedules are directly from the regulation and have not been modified. Please note that Section 19 of Part 6 of Regulation 199/07 provides notes to the schedules. It is not a requirement that these notes to the schedules be included with or attached to the schedules. Numbers within the brackets, i.e., 1 or 12, etc., found within the schedules are a reference to the notes to the schedules and are not required to be in the schedules. Schedule 1, Daily Inspection of Trucks, Tractors, and Trailers. Systems and components, minor defects, major defects. Appendix B, Sample Daily Inspection Reports. Sample 1, Report Commercial Motor Vehicle that does not tow a trailer. Sample 2, Report Commercial Motor Vehicle that tows only one trailer per day. Sample 3, Report Commercial Motor Vehicle that tows two trailers at different times. Additional trailers may be added by duplicating the information for trailer 2. Sample 4, Report Commercial Motor Vehicle that tows two trailers at the same time.